Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone, especially my students at secondary one. Hey, welcome again, welcome back again with me, your beloved teacher, Hilman Panji Firdaus. And for today's activity, what we are going to do is just to sit tight and relax, chill down a little bit, because today we are going to discuss the answer of all the question that someday within last week I have given to you. Maybe those tasks are pretty difficult to cope with, but here are the answer and listen carefully. Okay? Well, we are going to begin from the question number one. Oh, before jumping to the question number one, there's something that we all need to remember. Get easier. Remember that physically there is no such thing as cold or hot. So cold and hot is only the perception of our body. But what we do have is whether something has more or less heat. And more heat means higher temperature, and less heat means lower temperature. So water of 100 degrees Celsius has obviously more heat than an ice of minus something degrees Celsius. And heat itself is only what our body perceive, apa yang tubuh kita uh, rasa itu tuh panas. But actually in molecular or particle level, heat represent how hard a particle vibrates. So particle, even though it is cold, it still vibrate or oscillates, or in bahasa we call it bergetar. And if an object receive more heat, the temperature rise even higher, the vibration or oscillation of its particle inside becomes much harder. Jadi ketika benda suhunya naik, maka getarannya itu akan semakin keras. Lanjut, let's move on. This is you can see the comparison, yeah, between object with higher and lower temperature. You can notice that the object with higher temperature it wiggles so hard, yeah. Meanwhile, the object with lower temperature it vibrates, it oscillates, but not. So here is the first question. What is the term for lowest possible temperature a substance can reach? And in fact, at this temperature, even particles are not moving, are not vibrating. This kind of temperature, and here is the answer, is called absolute zero temperature, or minus 273.15 degrees Celsius, or if you live in United States or in olden days of United Kingdom, it is 459.67 degree Fahrenheit, or in more scientific number, it is widely known as 0 Kelvin. So 0 Kelvin is minus 273.15 degree Celsius. It is so cold, so cold that even there has never been any record in our real life that such temperature has been reached. So this is only the hypothetical or theoretical temperature uh, that that is produced by how do you call it? That is produced by calculation. Then question number two. Two fixed points are usually used. So if you have a thermometers, usually there are two fixed points to determine the scale of the thermometers. For instance, Celsius or Fahrenheit thermometers. We usually choose or select these 2 points. The first one is the ice point, and the second one is the steam or boiling point. And please explain what those points are. And here is the answer. Ice point is the temperature which ice melts. So if you take some ice out of your fridge and put it outside, it will suddenly melt. Then take some what do you call it, thermometers, and measure the temperatures when the ice is melting, and it will be at 0 degrees Celsius. And steam point is where the temperature is the temperature which the water boils, which is 100 degrees Celsius. So when the water boils, the temperatures that can be measured uh, is 100 degrees Celsius. Yeah, why? Yeah, so is there any reason why these 2 points are chosen? Yeah, there is a reason for that. These 2 points are chosen because ice point and steam point are easily obtainable and reproducible. What does it mean? It is basically means that if we make this experiment or organize such this experiment in a well-controlled environment, you can do the same experiment over and over again with the same result. Ya, jadi eksperimen ini tuh bisa dilakukan berulang kali dengan hasil yang sama, sehingga dipilihlah ice point dan steam point ini. Di ice point kalau di bahasa Indonesia artinya titik leleh, titik lelehnya es. Kalau steam point artinya titik uap, jadi air ketika menguap gitu. Dan 2 poin ini bisa dilakukan terus-menerus dengan hasil yang sama pada keadaan yang terkontrol dengan baik tentunya. Next on Celsius scale, thermometer has ice point of 0 degree and steam point of 100 degrees Celsius. What about the other scale, like Fahrenheit, Kelvin, and Reaumur? And to sort the answer, we use picture here. You can see that Celsius scale has the upper fixed point of 100 degrees Celsius and lower fixed point of 0 degree Celsius. For Reaumur, we have 80 for upper fixed point and 0 for lower fixed point instead. So you can spot the difference between them two. Yeah. So for Celsius, we have 100 degree range between ice point and steam point. Meanwhile, for the Reaumur, we have 80 degree scale range from the ice to the steam point. Does it mean that Reaumur scale can only measure colder, how do you call it, colder temperature of a body or of an object? Jadi Reaumur itu hanya bisa mengukur suhu-suhu yang rendah? Apparently not. Kenapa? Karena 100 derajatnya Celsius itu ketika air mendidih itu tuh sama aja dengan 80 derajatnya Reaumur. Jadi air mendidih kalau kalian pakai Celsius itu 100 derajat. Tapi air mendidih kalau kalian pakai Reaumur itu tuh kehitungnya cuma 80 derajat Reaumur. Mirip kayak kalian pakai penggaris cm, kalian ngukur buku nih penggaris cm, bukunya 25 cm panjangnya. Tapi saat kalian pakai inci, apakah angka incinya lebih besar atau lebih kecil? Tentu lebih kecil, karena skala cm dan skala inci itu berbeda. Mirip seperti itu saja. Yeah. So what about Kelvin? Kelvin has a higher number. Yeah, for for steam point it has 373 Kelvin, and for the ice point 273 Kelvin. You can see that for Kelvin it doesn't have degree on their right, and for the Fahrenheit scale It ranges from 32 degree Fahrenheit to 212 degree Fahrenheit. You can see that for Kelvin, the range is 100 Kelvin from 273 to 373. So it is similar to the Celsius. While for the Fahrenheit, it is wider, 32 to 212. It is about 180 degree Fahrenheit. So between Celsius, Reaumur, Kelvin, and Fahrenheit, the one that has larger range of scale is Fahrenheit, 180 degree. And the shortest one is Reaumur, only 80 degree. And this difference in scaling will be addressed later when you learn how to convert the temperature from one type of scale to the other, such as from Celsius to Fahrenheit. Number 4. Explain the benefits and disadvantages of mercury thermometer. So, mercury thermometer use mercury liquid, which is actually metal, but mercury, despite its metal properties, it is in liquid form, unlike any other metals, which is in solid form. Mercury thermometer has many benefits. It is easy to read because the inner tube won't get wet. Why? Because mercury is so cohesive. It means mercury only bond with its own molecule. Jadi mercury molecule itu gampang dibaca, soalnya mereka punya sifat mercury itu atau raksa itu mereka itu kohesif. Jadi dia berikatan kuatnya hanya dengan mercury lagi. Dia gak bakal nempel ke kaca. And it has a very wide range of temperature. It can read from as low as minus 40 degrees Celsius to as high as 360 degrees Celsius. So if you are required to do some temperature measurement, which the object temperature varied from very low to very high, this is your choice, I think, ya. Jadi kalian bisa mengukur dari suhu yang sangat rendah minus 40 sampai suhu yang sangat tinggi 360 derajat Celcius. Despite the benefits, it also has some disadvantages. The first one is it is more expensive, a bit not so expensive compared to many other type of thermometers, but compared to the alcohol thermometer, it is far more expensive to purchase, and unable to measure very low temperature below minus 40 degrees Celsius. So if you happen to live in Siberia, or maybe in Alaska, or maybe in Antarctica, this mercury thermometer is no use. Yeah, because your surrounding, your neighborhood, the temperature can drop as low as minus 50 degrees Celsius. And mercury is poisonous, ya, berbahaya, ya, beracun. So if it breaks, make sure you clean it properly because it's so harmful to your body. Question number 5. What about alcohol thermometers? So here are the benefits. It is cheaper, more accurate. It can reach even more accurate than mercury thermometers, like 2 decimal points. Ya, bisa mengukur sampai koma-komaan. It can be used to measure extremely low temperature as low as minus 70 degrees. And so what about the disadvantages? Sometimes the liquid sticks on inner tube, makes it difficult to read. Ya, kadang nempel cairannya itu di bagian dalam ininya, bagian dalam tubnya. Jadi sulit buat baca dengan benar. Dan tidak bisa mengukur suhu yang sangat tinggi, unable to read high temperature over 78 degrees Celsius. If you want to measure the temperature of boiling water, never use alcohol thermometer because it will explode. Alcohol is transparent, so it needs to be colored. Ya, alkohol itu dia transparan kayak air jernih aja. So in order for you to do the readings, you need to color the alcohol liquid need to be colored first. Question 6. The winter temperature of so what if you live in a place where the temperature is so low, below minus 40 degrees Celsius? So I think the answer is so obvious, yeah. Thermometer is the one that you need to choose, is the one that you need to purchase, uh, because it can read the temperature below minus 40 degrees Celsius until minus 70 degrees Celsius. Number 7, mention some example of thermometers. Some other example of thermometers. And here are the examples. I have compiled many types of thermometers for you. The first one is maximum and minimum thermometers. So it is not used to measure your body temperatures. It is to use to measure the maximum and minimum temperatures in a day. So once you got up in the morning, you can find out what is the highest predicted temperature in a day. And what is the lowest temperature throughout the day and night. Biasanya dipakai oleh para yang meneliti cuaca. So it's not to measure the current temperature of a place. Jadi bukan untuk mengukur suhu waktu itu tuh berapa, tapi suhu sepanjang waktu itu tuh maksimum kira-kira nanti berapa, minimum kira-kira nanti berapa. That is what this thermometer is used for. And clinical thermometer. Sometime in your lifetime you will come across with this particular thermometers. This one is the more analog one because it use alcohol or the mercury liquid inside the thermometer. But what's common in this kind of thermometer is the range of the temperature is around the normal body temperatures, which is at 37 degrees Celsius. So maybe the minimum only put at 35 degrees Celsius and the maximum is only at 42 degrees Celsius. Makes sense lah, because when you got fever, if your body temperature rise above 42 degrees Celsius, it will be so fatal. And if you get hypothermia, even 35 degrees Celsius pose dangerous to your life. Jadi ini termometernya hanya dalam range yang kecil, 35 paling sampai 42, ukur temperatur orang yang sehat, orang yang sakit kalau suhunya turun, atau sakit ketika suhunya naik, tidak sampai 100, nggak perlu. And this thermometer can be used quickly in a row. So if you use it to person A, it can be used so quickly to the person B, because it is designed so the liquid inside the thermometer will not drop too far from the normal body temperature. Jadi cairan yang ada di dalam termometernya tidak akan turun terlalu jauh dari suhu 37 derajat. Kalau termometer yang biasanya yang di lab itu tuh kalau sudah disimpan nggak dipakai, dia bakal turun ke suhu ruangan, katakan 21, 25 atau 28. Sementara ini mah enggak, jadi biar bisa dipakai cepat dari satu orang ke orang yang lain, gampang, mudah. And laboratory thermometers, it has wider range temperature, even to below 0 degree Celsius and to over 100 degree Celsius compared to clinical thermometer, of course. Jadi ini memang range-nya ini lebih lebar dibanding termometer klinik. And bimetal thermometer, so it looks like the speedometer on your car or on your motorbike, and it use metal. So there are two metals uh, striped together, and this metal will identify the temperature of an object, and it will move. Yeah, so it change the temperature into movement using this bimetal. Yeah, and this mechanical movement will turn the arrow from left to right or right to left. Thermocouple thermometer is the one that is commonly used in industry, and it is super sensitive. Yeah, it uses electricity. And digital thermometer use thermistor or thermoresistor. So it also uh, utilize the principle of electricity to determine the changes in temperatures. And this digital thermometer is more common to use in clinical or maybe in laboratory. Infrared thermometer, this is the most epic one because it how do you call it? It collects all the benefits, all the advantages from the other thermometers previously. It is sensitive, it is so easy to use and more accurate, and really simple. If you have this kind of thermometer, it is so practical for you to use it. You don't need to touch the object directly. Uh, you can use this thermometer to measure temperature of an object from a distance. Yeah, the closer the better, but still you don't need to in contact with the object, which is so handful, especially at this time when we are plagued with coronavirus. Jadi kalau pakai termometer ini nggak harus ditempelin, cukup dari beberapa jarak saja. But it it is it is the most expensive compared to many to the other method of measuring temperatures. Discussion number 8. Among many available types of thermometers, which one will you choose to measure the body temperatures? My answers are two. The first one, there are two thermometers that I will pick for my answer. The first one is the clinical thermometer because apparently this is how do you call it, dedicated, yeah, to do its purpose, which is used at the clinics. And the second one is the infrared thermometer because it, how do you call it, it collects, it obtains all the advantages from many other thermometers. So that's from me. Thank you for staying tuned with this video. You can